Walter Isaacson, as we were talking about, has made a career out of writing about the world's greatest innovators, the best-selling authors behind biographies of iconic figures like Steve Jobs, Albert Einstein, and Benjamin Franklin. Now, Isaacson is the host of a new podcast. It is called Trailblazers. In each episode, he explores the recent disruptors and innovators who revolutionize industries and transform lives. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back with you, Charlie. I was following in your footsteps, trying all forms of media.
There you go.
So why did you make the decision to do that, and what are you offering that other people are not offering in Europe?
Well, you know, I'd not really paid too much attention to podcasts. You know, I see people doing it. But like you, I try to learn each new form of media. You know, Al opened up a drawer recently, found one of those little Blackberries that you had to wind up, you know, from 30 years ago. So when they came along, Pacific Content and Dell Technologies said, hey, we want to do a really well-produced podcast that tells the stories of disruption and innovation. I thought, well, that's good. Podcasting can help save storytelling, which is something that we're sort of threatened in the digital
One of the books you've written is called The Innovators, I think.
Yeah.
So that's been a subject that...
Well, yeah, you know, it's like, okay, I've written about it. You might as well, you know, try it firsthand. And The Innovators tells a story, you know, throughout the digital age of how things transformed. And we think it's all new. We think, you know, Airbnb is the first great technological disruption of the hotel industry. No, I mean, that happened when inns were replaced by standardized hotels because we got the automobile. So I just want to show that how the history of disruption occurs, and that's sort of best done through storytelling.
Can I just say this, Walter? Your great storytelling ability continues on your podcast because you open every single one with a little story, a little tease, and then you draw us in. I really got engaged with the Domino Pizza story because you said it was 2000 whatever, and it's a man and a woman. They do something gross at Domino's.
I know, and it goes viral because they put the video up.
Because they put the video up, which, yeah, it was a gross act. But then Patrick Doyle comes in and says, we have a problem here. And he does something that nobody had ever done before. He admitted we made mistakes and totally changed the company around.
Well, it's very important to be able in this digital age when things go viral to pivot very quickly and say, here's a mistake, here's how we're going to fix it. And what he also does is he realizes he's not just a put cheese on top of a bread company. He's a technology company. You know, you should be able to tweet in that you want a pizza. I remember 1994, this is how old I am, I remember the first thing you could order online, the first thing you do was pizza. Yeah. You know, and that was, you know, and before Amazon was a...
But Patrick even says we're a tech company that just happens to do pizza, which I never thought of it that way.
Right, and I think every industry has to start thinking about them. So, you know, when we're a tech company that happens to run hotels, we're a tech company that happens to run an airline. I mean, what you're doing is customer relations, and this is how the disruption happens in all these industries we talk about. And the people who did it, Pacific Content and Dell Technologies, they kind of produced it very well. I don't take any credit for that, but there's sound effects. And so it's like, let's bring podcasts to the next level. Sorry, Norah.
Hi.
Hi, Norah. Sorry. I didn't mean to...
Netflix, one of the true disruptors of our time. And it's such a great story because we even forget, I've even forgotten that we used to get the discs in the mail.
I know,
you know?
I know.
And then they were able to change so quickly.
They disrupted themselves.
But that, yeah, no, I mean, that's, you know, Gayle has a really good point because what Reed Hastings is able to do, I remember when Steve Jobs did this with the iPod to the iPhone, what Reed Hastings was able to do is he created a business based on the disc would get to your house, and then he said streaming is coming along. Let's cannibalize our old business to make sure nobody else cannibalizes us.
We don't have much time left. You're from New Orleans. You went from there to a Rhodes Scholarship. There's great controversy in your hometown now.
Yeah, I saw Michelle Miller's wonderful piece that y'all had on today, bringing down the monuments, and I think it's very important. I think Mayor Landrieu has done a very good job because some of these monuments were just put up in the 1880s, 1890s, not to commemorate Jefferson Davis, who had very little to do with the city of New Orleans, and he was taken down last night. They were put up, you know, to send a signal after Reconstruction. I think New Orleans has always had an amazing diversity, and, you know, Michelle Miller being an example of somebody who's from New Orleans, married to a former mayor. That diversity has to be nurtured. It gave us our jazz, it gave us our jambalaya, our food. And when you have monuments that say to certain people, you shouldn't feel included in the history of the city, I think it's good that we're moving them, and I think it's good that the mayor is doing it methodically.
Great to have you here.
Yeah.
Charlie, it's always good to be with you.
Does this
Norah,
mean you'll come
Gayle.
back in October when your book
If
comes
you
out?
invite me back for Leonardo da Vinci,
Yeah.
I can just tell you what a cool guy he was.
Okay.
Really playful.
We always like to have you here.
you.
Renaissance.
He knew how to do so many things.
Yeah.
You know, the connection of the science to the art is the key to innovation 500 years ago when he lived and today.
We'll talk about it in
Isaac.
October.
Yes, we will see you in October.